Welcome to our latest and greatest Metaphysical Corner episode. I have with me my beautiful wife, my son, and our dogs are over here somewhere. We're here. Um, they have no idea what this is about, and that is my intention. And especially I want Damon here because I want him to hear this. And I'm also looking for, I don't want to say it's like a panel discussion, but kind of is. I mean, I'm going to ask these guys some questions. They have no idea what I may ask them, and to be honest, I don't either. I'm kind of making this up as I go. But my last video was on all the eclipses that we've had, and there's a lot going on. As a matter of fact, today is August 6th, 2018. Tomorrow Uranus goes retrograde. I think that gives us 7. We have an eclipse coming up Saturday, and there is a lot of really heavy duty atmosphere or energy in the atmosphere. Everyone looks at the I talk about the retrogrades, and I basically I've said what they're about. But the fact that, and I've also talked about returns, and like for example, when Saturn returns to your birth chart, your natal chart, when it returns to the place where it was on the day you were born, or within that period of time, there's a price to pay. Good, or it can be very beneficial, it can be very non-beneficial, depending. One thing I have not read about much, but I did find something, and we're going to be discussing it here. Is something that no one person ever experiences. As far as we can how the moon returns to the place where you were born every 28 days. Saturn is like 30 years. Jupiter is, I forget, 40, 50. Uranus is 84. In other words, like my dad, who was like 86, 87, he just had a Uranus return. But that doesn't, I think at that age it doesn't matter much. Neptune is 100 and something years, but one that no one ever experiences is a Pluto return. And that is where Pluto returns to the exact position where it was when something came to be. Everything has a natal chart. Of course, all of us do. And it's based upon the day you were born. Some people say it should be based on the day you were conceived, because that's when your life truly began. But they, by definition, they go on the day you are actually born, the day you take your first breath, and that is the moment of the beginning of your life. Countries have birth dates too. Sometimes they're kind of hard to pin down. What their exact dates, I have no idea what the what the official, birth date of Great Britain is. It's been around for a long time, much longer than us. With the United States, of course, July 4th is considered the birthday, but is it really? That's the day that the Declaration of Independence was adopted, and only a few people signed it that day. A lot of people don't realize that. It actually wasn't. I think it was not until 5-6 years later that it was fully signed. But was the United States born on July 4th, 1776, or was it born on the day? I think it was April 9th. No, I forget the exact date. When Cornwallis surrendered at Yorktown. Which day was the United States? What do you think?
The one I'm normal to.
The what?
The one I'm normal to. July 4th.
July 4th? I would tend to agree because that's the consensus. And, that's when the ideal was born. That was when, they declared their independence, but it still had to be done. Which the war had to finish up. All right, now, the reason why, Damien here is, and my beautiful wife, she's not political, or so she says. She doesn't even vote. That's fine. That's her personal choice. And I'm not into politics as a rule, but I've been around long enough. I've seen trends. And a lot of what drives this is I am convinced totally is astrology. And when things happen, for example, as well, it was that Uranus and Pluto had a conjunction for 7 years, and that was from 1964 to 1970. Sound familiar? That's of course the turbulent 60s, and I really believe that's what caused it. But and the countries with their birthday, with us having July 4th, what happened is in 2022 the United States will experience its what they call Pluto return. In other words, Pluto could be exact. Matter of fact, it's 27 degrees, 33 minutes in Capricorn. We've never experienced this. So the United States will be having its first Saturn return. I mean, not Saturn, Pluto return. We are actually already been in what they call the orb of the of our return since 2008, because if you're within 5 degrees of an exact moment, you're in the effect period. Well, we all know what happened in 2008. Obama gets elected, first black president. I find that very interesting, and it's been but how can I explain this? The vitriol that I see on the media, Facebook, everywhere. I've often said if they had to redo the Constitution right now, if they had to come up with it, they couldn't do it because the Republicans, the Democrats, they so hate each other. I've never seen it like this. It's and there are many people who feel there's truly a revolution at hand. Well, I'll tell you what. That may not be as far-fetched as it seems. In that Capricorn, when the United States Pluto is returning to exactly where it was the last time we had a revolution. I'm not saying there's going to be a war. I'm not saying there's going to be like another civil war or something like that. No, not at all. But a clash of ideas, and someone is going to there's going to be a winner and a loser. Now, I want to read this because I did some research on this, and it says right here, I know you probably can't read it, it says an astrological explanation for political turmoil in the United States. Now, I read this. It's not real long. Raise your hand if 2017 gave you a case of PTSD, post-traumatic syndrome. One moment you're pulling you pick a sign and you're ready to resist. The next you're looking through 5 different news sites, Twitter and Facebook, to find out the latest insane and polarizing order that has been handed down from the shadowy ranks of the presidential puppet show. Despite the intensity, this is far too important a moment in history to look away. We've been tracking the movements of the astrological chart of the United States. Yes, even countries have natal charts. So do companies. One time I read, and I read this long before it was in astrology, that historians generally agree about every 250 years a country has it's like their personality or their purpose of being on Earth or their destiny changes. Isn't that interesting? Because that's right, with every 250 years, actually 248, they're having a Pluto return. So that may not be as far-fetched as it sounds. When the land of the free, home of the brave was born or declared independent, Pluto was at 27 degrees, 33 minutes Capricorn. Like Darth Vader, Pluto reveals where our shadows lie. It points to the things that will eventually come back to haunt us until they are completely destroyed. In truth, nothing ever disappears from the universe, it simply changes form. As the astrological alchemist, Pluto shows us how to turn lead into gold. Get up. But we have to deal with the buried secrets first. From 2008 to 2024, and that's why I want you here, because these are years you're going to be involved, and past that, the U.S. is having a Pluto return. Well, what does that mean? In a nutshell, for the first time since 1778, Pluto has returned to Capricorn. The sign Pluto was transiting during the birth of the United States. Capricorn is the sign that rules patriarchy, government, and capitalism. All ideas that have been thrown into the spotlight bigly and igniting a radical outcry from at least half of the country's citizens. More importantly, on January 18th, 2017, Pluto reached 17 degrees 33 minutes Capricorn, which is 10 degrees away from the 27. This is, or about 10 degrees is small enough to begin the most intense activation of the Pluto return. A planetary return is not like a remix. Things reoccur, and hopefully we get a chance to do over and upgrade. But since Pluto is the god of the underworld, a Pluto return can feel like a straight up zombie apocalypse. Are we having a zombie apocalypse?
I don't know what apocalypse is.
All the secrets, shame, and undead have been buried are back. Although we're feeling it in full strength in 2017, Pluto and Capricorn issues have flared up since the return phase began in 2008. The U.S. elected its first American African president, marking a watershed moment. And just before the banks fell to their knees and needed bailing out, there was hope and chaos and confusion all at once. It was a confusing time. In 2016, the halfway point of Pluto's transit through Capricorn, the U.S. almost broke the patriarchic spell by electing Hillary Clinton to be the first female president. Instead, a shocking turn of events vaulted the ultimate Pluto and Capricorn stereotype to the role of commander-in-chief. I'm just reading what it says here. A bully and sexual predator so masterful at manipulation that he openly lies without retribution. Even more mind-bending, more than 50% of white women who voted had elected Trump into office, reducing his braggings of sexual assault to locker room talk. That's the stronghold of Pluto and Capricorn, fear of a feminine planet. Now, let's look at America's capitalistic history. How did the U.S. become one of the wealthiest nations in the world? This, too, has the hallmarks of Pluto and Capricorn. Corruption, deceit, manipulation, power grabs, and enslavement. In mythology, it was Pluto who kidnapped young, how do you say that?
Persephone.
Persephone, yeah, and that's it, Persephone. Sorry. And dragged her to the underworld. Her mother, Demeter, the goddess of harvest and agriculture, struck a shared custody bargain. For half the year, Persephone would come above ground. This represented the seasons of spring and summer, when crops would grow. During autumn and winter, Persephone was Pluto's captive. It's no secret that the crops which have made the United States so wealthy were grown on lands seized from native tribes and stewarded by African slaves. Reparations were never made to either group. This evolved into, as we write this in early 2017, the Dakota Access Pipeline is being pushed to construction despite massive protests from the Standing Rock Sioux tribe and citizens around the globe. Meanwhile, a climate change denier, Scott Pruitt, is being considered to be head of the Environmental Protection Agency, and I think he got it. Mother Nature could hit hard back for such offenses after December 19th. That's when Saturn joins Pluto in Capricorn. This has already happened. This is last December 19th. Potentially halting some of that unchecked plutonian destruction. Conservation of natural resources and environmental safety are hallmarks of Saturn Capricorn. We must admit this brings us some relief, and we're praying Saturn can get there in time before we have to weather any more natural disasters. We get to ask California about that right now with all their fires.
Just the internet.
Even the populist uprising that helped elect Trump into office is proof of the Pluto and Capricorn mirage of false power and patriarchal reign. Many are still scratching their heads watching blue-collar laborers rally behind a billionaire scion whose hands have never been dirtied by a day of hard work, so much they complain about the softness of towels on Air Force One. Instead of draining the swamp as he promised, he has filled his cabinet with oil tycoons, big pharma, and Wall Street cronies. The manipulation was masterful, and it had Pluto and Capricorn's "Save us, Daddy" fingerprints all over it. So this is the shadowy legacy of Pluto and Capricorn. So here's some cosmic hope before we all fall into a state of despair. A Pluto return allows us to destroy what is no longer working and rebuild from truth. When the skeletons come out of the closet, we can actually deal and heal. Over the next 8 years, we have a chance to turn the tide. The exact Pluto return will take place in the United States when the dwarf planet pulls up to the same degree that it was on Independence Day, 1776. This will happen in 2022 on February 21st and December 29th. Now, what I'm saying is, I'm not. What I guess I'm trying to say is there is a way. The universe will have a way, especially Pluto. Pluto is an extremely slow-moving planet, and and because of that, it can apply pressure for a long time. What is going on in the United States? You've all heard about the 1% versus the 9 or the 2% and the 98%, 99%. This cannot. The current system cannot last. I do not know what's going to happen. I have said to Valerie, I said something's coming. I don't know what it is. I will be watching them personally. I will be watching the midterm elections big time. But Damon could inherit a different type of world. Depending upon what happens between now and I would say like 2024, like I said, if the actual Pluto return goes through 2024, and maybe things will be different, maybe things will be better, or but Pluto will have its way.
No.
Well, that's what I'm saying though. Pluto may do what needs to be done.
No zombie apocalypse.
Huh?
No zombie
apocalypse. Okay, you can request the universe not to have a zombie apocalypse, but it may sure feel like it for a while.
No.
I mean, look. Back in what I'm saying is, look at what happened back in 2008, 9, and 10. It almost collapsed, and something like that may take something like that to end what needs to be ended. I don't know, but it's kind of scary. But remains to say, any questions, any comments?
Yeah, it's probably gonna be 2001 all over again.
2001?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
The Twin Towers.
Huh?
The Twin Towers.
Well, I'm not saying there's going to be an act of terrorism.
There might be.
Well, there's a possibility. You never know. But anyway, so I just thought I just want to bring this up. I promise it's going to be an interesting period of time for the next 4 or 5 years, and I guess we're all going to find out together exactly what it means. We'll see you next show.